Hello everybody, welcome to another deck profile. This time I'm showing you my Megalith deck. I think this deck is really good if you're on a budget. It can compete with most of the metagame. The deck is also really cheap and you can kind of tailor it towards your metagame or depending on how much you want to invest into the deck. Like if you want to do link cross hockey Phalllic stuff, you can do that with this deck, but I chose not to. Instead kept it more of a focus on the Megalith cards and then using the extra deck as a toolbox for outing things or just setting up plays. Before we get started with the profile, also don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and let's get started with the main deck. And then I'll go over extra and side. So the win con going first, the reason why you don't need to do link cross hockey Fibrax stuff is Magician of Black Chaos Max. When this card's ritual summoned, you can tribute a monster, including itself, and then your opponent can't activate monster effects. So because you can summon this on your opponent's turn, you basically stop them from even playing the game, and then you should have enough resources to kill them the next turn, or at least be in a winning position. Also, when you destroy something by battle, you can add a spell back from your graveyard. So that's actually kind of relevant because most of your spells are spells that plus you, so you just gain more pluses. Now, for the spice of the deck, this is basically the flex spot in the deck. You can choose to play 3 hand traps, but I chose to play Demise, Agent of Armageddon. The reason why he's really good in the deck is because he has a lot of good things going for him. He's level 4, so he helps you make Xyz plays. Also, when he's Ritual Summon, you can pop a card, but the most important effect is when he's sent to the graveyard, you can target a ritual you control, and your opponent cannot respond to your ritual monster's activations. So essentially it's miscellaneous Saurus in the most simplest way, and that helps us basically play through hand traps a whole bunch. So if you haven't tried this card, give it a shot. You might like it. For the Megalith cards, we have triple copies of Megalith Aratron. All the big Megalith cards let you ritual summon by using their effects in hand, and then they also have an on-field effect, like Aratron protects targeting. But the reason why I played triple copies of Aratron, where most people play 2, is because this one is the quick effect one. So the reason that's really good is because if the opponent uses Effect Veiler or Infinite Impermanence and they target one of your Megalith cards on the field, you can chain Aratron and then dodge targeting, negation and stuff. So that's why I like 3 copies of Aratron. Then we played double copies of Bethor. This is the one that you use to just pop a bunch of cards on the field. When it's Ritual Summon, you can pop cards up to the number of either Ritual or Megalith cards with different names in your graveyard. So it's very common that you'll pop 2 or 3 cards every turn, and you just accumulate advantage that way. And you can keep bringing it back and just using its effect over and over again, on your turn and your opponent's turn. Then finally for the big Megaliths, 1 Megalith Phalllic. This one is the worst one because it doesn't do anything on summon, it doesn't generate advantage or deal with boards. It just buffs your Megalith cards, well actually all of your cards, by 300 for each Megalith in your graveyard. So you usually use this to kill your opponent the next turn. Plus it's a different name, so that kind of matters. But it's by far the worst one. Now, for the Megalith that actually you want to see in your opening hand, we have triple copies of Megalith Ophiel. All the smaller Megaliths have 2 effects, one on summon and one that's an ignition effect. So Ophiel, when it's summoned, you can search a Megalith monster. That effect is not once per turn. And then the other effect is that you can tribute yourself to then perform a ritual summon, and this can be for any ritual monster, which is really good. So because this is not once per turn and we want to see it in our opening hand all the time and we just want to loop it, we play triple copies of Ophiel. And then in the same way, we play triple copies of Megalith Haggith. This one searches the spells, which are actually really important for the combos. That's pretty much it. Those 2 just go together and you want to see them as much as possible. And you actually summon this a lot more because you want to make sure you want to search your field spell as well as your quick play spell. So we play 3 of those. And then the best support that deck got in Rise of the Duelist, Megalith Fool. This one is super good because on summon you get to add back a card from your graveyard. Megalith card, and then it also copies the level of the card that you added, so that basically sets up all of your ritual costs, and it has the effect that on your opponent's turn you can also ritual summon a Megalith card from your deck. So essentially that's how you get access to your Ock, which is the ritual that lets you summon any ritual monster from your hand. So this is your most important playmaker, and it's usually the target that I use for Demise because this one will be the one that sticks around on the field for the longest. Finally, one Megalith Auk. This one has a pretty weak effect on summon. It's essentially a draw one, discard one, but the main effect is that it lets you ritual summon anything on your opponent's turn, so that's how you set up the Chaos Max play. So we only play one of it because it's super, super easy to access. For the Megalith spells, we play a triple copy of Unformed. This card is like really, really good because it lets you ritual summon from the deck by attributing levels double of the monster that you want to ritual summon. So for example, if you want to summon, say for example, Fool, you need to tribute, because it's a level 2, you need to tribute 4 levels worth of cost, so you basically tribute a level 4 in your hand, and then you get to summon the Fool from the deck. If you want to tribute the level 8s, then you need to tribute 16 levels worth of cost, but that's not like super difficult because this deck pluses a lot. Finally, for the last Megalith spell that we play, it's Portal. Once per turn, when you ritual summon a Megalith card, you get to add back a card from your graveyard, and also once per turn, the first time a Megalith would be destroyed by a card effect, you get to protect it. So essentially, like, this just helps you like accumulate a little bit of advantage every turn, and like towards the end of the game it'll matter a lot, and also the protection is really nice. Now, for the incantation stuff that we play triple copies of Chalice Slime. This is the one that you want to see the most in your opening hand. Chalice Slime is absolutely amazing because just off Chalice Slime itself, you get to cycle through most of your incantation engine, and also because it sets up your level 4 and your level 6s from the deck, it means that you have like really easy tribute fodder for your Megalith cards. So we play triple Chalice Slime because it's a really good starter. Now, for the incantations that we only play one of each, of Candle, Talismandra, and Pencil Plume. Talismandra and Candle are just the best ones. Candle will search you your ritual spell, the incantation one. Talismandra, any ritual monster, and Pencil Plume will add back. But Candle is the first one that you summon off Chalice Slime because it'll get you the incantation ritual spell, and because it's level 4, it's just like really, really good. You don't really care about the extra deck restriction of not being able to summon from the extra deck because you don't even go into the extra deck that much. Only on like the following turns, or like if you need to out certain cards. And then I'm playing one Pencil Plume because Pencil Plume just kind of works really well with the Megalith. The Megaliths already like add back a bunch of resources, and Pencil Plume is just like more resources in your hand from the graveyard. So, and then finally, one of the incantation ritual spells. This lets you ritual summon anything. Also, it has like a really, really good effect in the graveyard where you can swap like incantations from the field from the deck. So basically, helps you access that even more like incantations. So it's really strong. For more consistency, triple copies of Manju, your normal summon, search ritual monster or ritual spell. Just that, like there's nothing too special to say about it. It's just a good normal summon, but it's level 4, so it helps you make rank 4s. For more consistency, triple copies of Preparation of Rites, search any level 7 or lower ritual monster, also lets you add back a ritual spell from the graveyard. The only ritual spell that we play is the incantation one, but it doesn't really matter because the card is just good and helps us see Talismandra or any of the smaller Megalith cards. And finally, for the main deck, we play triple copies of Extra Foolish Burial. This card has a lot of utility because you have a lot of good extra deck targets between Nt and the Herald. It can either be like a card that you want phone with your opponent, or it can like plus you and get your combo started. So because it's so versatile, we played 3 copies of it, and we played multiple targets in the extra deck for whatever situation that we need. So that was pretty much it for the main deck. So let's go over the extra deck real quick, and then side deck. For the extra deck, we play 1 copy of Nt and 1 copy of When Pegasus Adagnister. These are your extra Foolish Burial Goods targets that you send when you're trying to out things. This is really good because it doesn't destroy, it shuffles back into the deck, and the Nts just pops a card when it's sent. These are also really good against Dogmatica, because if they use Maximus in some way, then you get to send both of them, and then you have more ways to just break their board. And then we also play 1 copy of Omega. Omega is just good if you're trying to get some resources back to your hand. From the banished zone into your graveyard, so 1 Omega. For the Searcher, we have double copies of Herald. Most people only play one. I'm playing the second one because I like having the option if I open like double extra foolish burial goods or something, which is not optimal. But if for some reason I need to like find a starter card or something, then I at least have the second one in my extra deck. So it doesn't come that much, but like you have so much space in your extra deck that it doesn't matter. One copy of Gallant Granite. This card just searches any rock monster, so literally like your entire deck, so it's really good. If you decide to play Nibiru, you can also search Nibiru off that way if your hand's really good. One copy of Duggarus. This is just like a lot of times I use it to unbrick my hands, where I just draw 2, discard 1, sets up the graveyard, lets me see new cards, just pretty good, rank 4. Excitonite helps me break boards. Daigusto Emerald, just shuffle back resources and draw some cards, not bad. Light Dragon Addingnister is like a mini Dingirsu, so it helps you like out things on the board and also lets you protect your stuff by detaching materials, so it's pretty good. One copy of Abyss Dweller. This is like the 15th card in the extra deck. This could literally be like anything if you want to play Baguska, actually Dingirsu, or level 8 Xyz monsters. Literally, like if you want to play a different card, you could just play over Abyss Dweller. But it's good in some matchups, especially against like Eldritch and Orcus and whatnot. One copy of Tornado Dragon to deal with back row. And then for the Link monsters, we have like the only 3 that you kind of want to play if you're not doing like Link Cross Hockey Fibrax stuff. This one's really good because it's a negation and you can make it like super easily since all of your monsters are rocks. And also, if it's destroyed, you get to search up to 2 like ritual monster, ritual spells, like any combination. Cross Ship is pretty good in this deck because you can make the you can use the ritual effect, which is to draw 2, discard 2, and a lot of times the things that you're discarding, you can easily add them back later, so you just get to see like 2 new cards. So the card is just like really, really solid. And finally, one copy of Nephthys. This one is actually like really insane for a deck like Megalith because you can make it so easily and it becomes like huge and it can't be targeted, it can't be destroyed by battle, and you just kind of like beat your opponent down with it. If you have the opportunity to make it, you can just go into it and win games that way. It's like super, super problematic for some decks. They just can't out it. For the side deck, we have triple copies of Denko. The reason why I play triple copies of Denko is because you can play in combination with Odd Eye's Gravity Dragon. This card's actually really cool. Essentially, on summon, you just bounce all of your opponent's back row. It's like Hate Grenade, but on a monster. And because you can summon it with like all of your Megalith cards, when you combine it with Denko, you lock their back row and bounce it all back to their hand. They can't really do anything about it. And also, when your opponent tries to use a monster effect, you burn them for 500. So in weird like game 3 scenarios, or like if you're like a tournament or something, you can kind of win games that way by burning your opponent and just creating a life difference, because they have to play the game, and every time they try to play the game, you're burning them. To deal with more back row, we have Pancratops Red Reboot. These are just like Scidex staples. They don't conflict with your energy in any way, and they're just like blowout cards. To deal with big boards, we play triple copies of Dark Ruler. The card's just like good. It's a very good like budget card to just own and put in the side deck. A lot of the times, like this deck can play through a little bit of disruption, but if it's like 5+ negates, then like you just need to see like Dark Ruler to break the opponent's board, and you don't even care that much about the damage because you're not gonna like always win through like a straight up OTK. You're just gonna like win through resources and whatnot. So Dark Ruler is just good. Then, because Zoo is like a really good deck now, we play triple copies of Book of Moon. This card is like really, really interesting because against some decks, if you just Book of Moon, like you can use this going first or going second, and if it's like a target that they summon from the deck, or like a specific card that they need, for example, like a normal summon Zodiac monster, you just Book of Moon it, and then like they can't do like the double A Zeus play where they just like evenly your board and don't let you play that way. So this card helps you to deal with those types of decks. And finally, the other reason why we play a bunch of extra deck targets is the Dogmatic Punishment, specifically in the Wind Pegasus. This is essentially just like Icarus attack for the deck. It stops you from summoning from the extra deck, but you don't care that much about it. But because it also lets you set up your graveyard with whatever you need, like if you need removal, you send the Winged Pegasus. But sometimes, like if you're trying to pop something that doesn't have that much attack, you can send the Herald and then get a search that way. So this card is really versatile in that way. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the deck profile. Again, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.